Okay, as a reminder to everyone, we are recording today's session and it will be available on our YouTube channel, which is PVAMU Research. We invite everyone to subscribe and be notified when new videos are uploaded. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for today's RITI session. We are excited to have Kimberly Gay joining us again today. Today, Kimberly is speaking about showcasing the John B. Coleman Library's SCOPUS and ORCID database. And in addition to that, I have some exciting news about the John B. Coleman Library. We have spoken with Kimberly and it is approved and she has agreed, and other library resource reference librarians have agreed. I am pleased to announce that beginning next month, on the second Monday of every month, we will have a different offering for you about resources that can help you with your research. And we are calling this series the Library Research Series. So it's an opportunity for you to learn more tips and tricks about researching and how it can help, how the library can help you with your research. So without further hesitation, Kimberly Gay. Thank you for joining us again today, Kimberly.
Oh, you're welcome. Good afternoon, everybody. It's always a pleasure that me and my co-host of librarians that it's also in this session to have another way of engaging with our faculty, our students, and our staff. So this came at a great opportunity as we're still trying to work through how to assess and give library information to our staff, to our faculty. This becomes an excellent, almost like an excellent place that we can come together and I can show you things about the library. Every month we'll feature a different reference librarian that will show you about maybe their interest area, a database that they're familiar with. I'll go ahead and get started. I know I love to do my trainings and they're called Train the Trainers. So the library resource sessions really are looking at training the trainers. So what do I mean by that? I'm going to show you something that of interest, and then it'll be up to you to decide on how much you want to explore and learn and move forward with it. In that time, if you've got any other questions or you want to take it to another level, you have always the information of how to contact me, and we can do a Zoom of a one-on-one session. So I'll go ahead and get started by having everybody to log into this library session that we're doing on Scopus. So I just sent the actual, if you look in your chat, I just sent everything that you need to click on to the library's homepage that has this information that we're going to discuss. So everybody, if they clicked on that link that says LibGuide session Scopus, you should actually be on this page. And I'm just doing a continuation of where we left off last time. And we looked at just the overall trainings of information about the library. So hopefully everybody has made it to this page, this LibGuide page. What I've set up on this page is information about Scopus that we're going to cover, then information about ORCID, and why I want everybody, if you don't have an ORCID account, we're going to take the time and make sure you get registered for an ORCID account. And then information that I'm going to share you from a basic and advanced level of Scopus. And why would Scopus matter to you? This is what makes it exciting. When we do our sessions, we want it to matter to you. And we know that y'all are in research and office and in innovation for funding and grants. So I always like to make sure it's geared toward why would this be important for me? So the first thing we're going to do is look at, and it's right here, our Google document working notes. You're going to click on that link and it'll automatically set you up in your Google Docs. And here is my agenda. So this again is everything laid out for you, how to go in and do registration. Even when we start looking at SCOPUS, some of the notes that I put in here. And again, this is a Google working document. So you hopefully will be able to know that you can put information in it where everybody else can look at it as well. That's what I do in a lot of the classes that I teach in undergrad and grad. I have a Google working document. So everybody has a chance to look at everybody's notes and what I talked about, and it's all in one succinct place. Now, since Preview has moved and we're looking more to do in Google with all of Google's apps on, this is going to be an excellent source for you as well. So before we get into it, does everybody understand, or does everybody know about SCOPUS, or have anybody not heard of SCOPUS? You can just put it in chat if you've heard about SCOPUS or you use SCOPUS, so I'll know how to direct my session to see if I need to be more at an advanced level or more at a basic level. And while we're doing that, I need everybody to go ahead and click on the SCOPUS Content Coverage Guide. You're going to click this link right here for the SCOPUS Content Cover Guide, and it's going to actually put you on this page. And it's a wonderful PDF document that I'm going to outline and get you to understand why we're even going to talk about SCOPUS, and how is Ms. Gabe going to try to fit all of SCOPUS in less than 50 minutes. Okay. And I'm noticing that I've got some people chatting and saying that they've never used it. They've only used it at a basic level. Well, I'm going to show you how to empower SCOPUS to look at so much more. So hopefully everybody is on this wonderful little PDF document. How do I get to it? What you're going to actually do is go back to that page, the LibGuide that I created for this session. Over here on the left-hand side, it says SCOPUS Content Guide. Please click on that link. And when you click on that link, you're actually going to get into the SCOPUS Content Guide. So hopefully everybody is at the SCOPUS Content Coverage Guide, because here's what we're going to go over. And if you were smart, again, I'm training the trainers. If you were smart, what I've highlighted, you need to highlight it yourself. Okay, so you know on your PDF, you can come over here to where it says highlight and click on the actual highlight, because I really want y'all to go in and highlight some of these features that you'll know, go back and look at even more to get those aha moments. So the first thing we're highlighting is SCOPUS and an overview. SCOPUS is an abstract and index. So what does that mean? It's not going to have the full text articles, but it will link if the preview databases have those articles. So what you're going to do is highlight this section, because this actually explains what SCOPUS is. It's excellent for looking at all the research that you want to look at, who's been funded, what authors are the big authors in a research area that you're in, that maybe you can contact those authors and work with those authors, what funding, what types of articles or what types of information gets funded and by whom. So that's the reason why I went ahead and highlighted this section. Then I went ahead and highlighted this because SCOPUS has almost 80 million records. And again, these are records that deal with books, journals, conference papers, book series, dealing in research that somebody's really geared into and looking at a research topic. And this is just another database that they're able to facilitate that information from. We keep going down. I highlighted this. You know, looking at why SCOPUS has 1.7 billion cited references dating back 50 years ago. okay, and why this section is important to look at. Then through here, I highlighted in the search feature, this area. I've got a question that says, questions about Scopus, ask them. Yes, questions about Scopus, please ask them in the chat and we'll talk about them as I go through this. Then we go on to the discovery. This is why I want you to make sure to have your identifier number, okay? And if you don't have one, this guy's gonna go through that because it makes Scopus even more profound when you have that identifier number, that it will know who you are as an author, as a researcher, when you're even in Scopus. And then going through, Scopus has email alerts. If you have a certain research area or a topic that you're interested in, and you don't want to always try to be Googling to see what information out there, Scopus will actually email you alerts and RSS feeds and HTML feeds saying, hey, you know, this new article was done on this subject area, or on this funding document, or on this research capacity. And it keeps up with that information too. And then it does a great analyzing. For all my faculty that are having to deal with what's called that journal impact factor, and looking at, is the weight of the journal good enough that you'll be able to use that for your tenure and promotion, or just review of all the good literature that you're reading. It does this great aspect of the journal impact factor on it. We keep going, content and selection. You know, with Scopus, they have what's called an advisory board. And this is the advisory board that helps to look at all of the information that's even within Scopus and make sure that it's, you know, authoritative, it is scholarly, peer reviewed, everything is ready that can be used for research endeavors. We keep going down the page, coverages, okay? If you think Scopus doesn't cover your site, it does. Here's all the different publication categories. And this is just the ones that they put in that have the most information from them. This is the information that it covers. So from chemical to biological to medical to math sciences, even down to journalism and human society and philosophy and history and my politics and policy. Scopus has all those intricate levels of subject areas that can be found. Then we go into, like I was saying, the collection has journals, trade journals, book series, conference materials. All of this is within Scopus. Then we keep going, other ones. Scopus has patent information. If you're looking to see if something has been patented, or if you have a patent and you wanted to get more information on what are they talking about this patent, we can actually research and look at patents, and there's over 43.7 million patent records in Scopus as well. Then going into the metadata of Scopus and everything it covers, like I was saying, it covers, you know, almost 80 million core records, you know, and it starts back in the early 90s of when they started digitalizing a lot of this. Then we go into document types. Again, articles, books, chapters, conference papers, data papers, editorials, erratas, all of this is in here as well. Book reviews. And what makes Scopus really good is that, again, I must stress, it's abstracts and indexes. So it gives you the link and it gives you information how to find the full text article, but it's just a wonderful abstract and index to say, these are the articles that exist. Here are the citations, here are the keywords, here are the indexing. This is what is available and what's out there. And then you can take the time to start looking at the full text articles that Scopus is mentioning. We keep going down, and here's the part that we're going to go into next, is getting and making sure you have that ID. And that ID is your record that shares with Scopus that says that you're an author, you're a researcher. Even us as librarians, we should all have an ID as well. I have an ID for myself from here. So we're going to go through and look at ORCID and make sure that everybody has that set up. Then funding, another excellent point that I'm excited to share with y'all is that SCOPUS lets you know about the funding data. It lets you know who's actually doing that data, what is coming from that data, and even who is giving the money or the grants for those types of funding. So that's another wonderful, interesting thing that SCOPUS has. Then we keep going. The SCOPUS also includes open access. So if there is a journal article that you like and it is in open access, you can actually click on the link and go straight to that full text article. If it is an article that has to be linked to preview, it'll link to preview and you'll be able to look at that article as well. SCOPUS coverage, again, it does it by the title list. It does it by a keyword list. We can go by an author list. We can do title evaluations. Again, this little handy guide, the reason why I went through and I highlighted all of this good stuff is because these are areas that I like to look at and explore. And I wanted to pop them out to y'all so y'all would be able to see that as well. We keep going, the categories. Again, all the different categories. It has 16 million author profiles in here, 70,000 affiliations. And we're going to look at Preview's affiliation. And what does Preview have in SCOPUS? And who are the big scientists and researchers here at Preview? We can be able to analyze that in SCOPUS. Then SCOPUS has the journal policies, the content, journal standings, publishing regulatories, and online availability. Then keep going. SCOPUS also does this wonderful metric system that tells you what is the weight and the journal citation value of what you're looking at. And I really like showing this off because it gets you to understand the value of scholarly peer-reviewed information. And as we deal with so much information that is so relevant out there and it's so pervasive, it's really nice to count on SCOPUS to know that everything that's coming out of SCOPUS is going to have this matrix setup that's going to let you know that it's a scholarly peer-reviewed source, that it's not something that needs to be aggregated another way because you're not sure if it is truly nonfiction. Keep going about global coverage. Now, since Preview has done this wonderful QEP that talks about global, SCOPUS does global. SCOPUS does global all over the world, and you can actually hone in on certain areas of the world and just look at their research and what's going on in East Europe, what's going on in Western Europe, what's going on in Africa and the Middle East, what's going on in Latin America, and even in Asia and Australia and New Zealand. You know, so SCOPUS even has a place that you can do geography-wise and look at what research goes on as well. And then we come down here and we look at the clusters of SCOPUS's titles and the subject areas it covers. Again, SCOPUS is built on this infusion of getting you closer to who's doing the research, what areas are they looking at that they can't solve that maybe you can solve, or maybe somebody at Preview knows a better way and a formula and you can work with those authors. Then it also has humanities, it has Medline coverage as well. So again, with SCOPUS, there's all these possibilities that you can do with SCOPUS's content. And this is the reason why I wanted to show you the guide and how important this guide is for your understanding. Do we have any questions about SCOPUS? We're going to actually go through it because remember, this is Train the Trainers. So we're actually going to go through the SCOPUS database, and I hope that everybody has their computer ready, that they can log in and we can do these high-level search strategies and be able to look at information while we're all together in this time. But right now, does anybody have a burning SCOPUS question before we get to the ORCID? Okay, I don't see any come up yet. So I need everybody to get back onto the library's page that I built for this site. So get back to that LibGuide. I'll go ahead and again put it in the chat so everybody can keep up with me. So now we're going to ORCID, and you're asking why, what is Ms. Gay talking about this ORCID? And ORCID is a unique identifier that you control and you own forever, that associates you as an author. And it's a better way to look at your name, because somebody could have your first and your last name and even your middle initial. Your ORCID ID is your own unique identifier. It's like almost like a social security number for your authorship. So we're going to go ahead and go straight to it where it says register for your ORCID ID. So we're going to click on this link. And once we click on this link, we're going to be right here. And I would highly recommend to go ahead and register. Don't try to go through the institution or go through Google or go through Facebook. I would actually go in and register. So click this link on right here and let's register. Okay, so we've got a question that says, just to confirm, SCOPUS will not have full test or conference proceedings. SCOPUS has the abstract and the full text of the conference proceedings, but you're gonna have to look at doing either an interlibrary loan or seeing if the library owns that material. SCOPUS is abstracts and citations only. So it'll let you know it exists. And that's all we wanna know. Does it exist? If that conference paper exists, you can work with our interlibrary loan department and go through and be able to see how to get the full text. So again, we are right into our SCOPUS training, and we're looking at doing our ORCID. And thank you, Mr. Massar, for letting me know to do my screen over to come over to here to this area. Again, I will go ahead and put this in the link. I will put this in the link. And so you know straight to go to ORCID, and we're gonna now register. And then I, of course, Ms. Gay already has an account, so I'm gonna go ahead and log in. So why is Ms. Gay showing me this? I have now my ORCID number. I also have a biography about me, my employment, my education, you know, funding endeavors that I want to look at, that I want to see if I can get grants for. Also put in, I can get this right here, get QR code. And I can actually be able, when I'm out, and especially because I go to a lot of the library conferences, when I'm working with the publishers, they can scan in this, and you can do it right now. Scan in this code on your phone and you'll be able to go straight to my author account. So you want to talk about a business card that's digital. This is yummy, because you would just need this little sheet of paper with the ORCID number on it and your ORCID ID code, and it would actually be able to give all of this wonderful information that comes up. So it's like a business card to the next, electronic business card to the next level, because you can also do your ID, your QR code ID for it. So the main thing I want you to do now is just to get registered. And then later on, you can work through going and updating your biography, putting in your employment history, your education. And this right here is your unique identifier. So when we go into SCOPUS, now you have this unique identifier that you can search all of your information that you have through SCOPUS as well. And then search anybody else who has an account and has a ORCID account as well too. So this is the power of what I was saying about ORCID, and it's free, guys. This is free. So for all of my faculty and staff who already do research and who already publish, If you don't have one of these, I'm so glad I'm showing it to you now, because it's going to mean a lot, because it literally puts into context the level and the acuteness that you are as a researcher and as a scholar. So I'll give everybody about 2 more minutes to just at least set up their ORCID account, because it's going to ask you to check your email and then verify through your email. And then we'll start back up. And the last part of my presentation is we're going to dive straight into SCOPUS and do some searching. While we have a minute or two, does anybody have a question about SCOPUS so far, or even about your ORCID? And I put more information about ORCID here, along with my QR code for ORCID. And then there's a beautiful video training as well on ORCID as well. So I'll give everybody about 1 more minute to set up their ORCID. Just all I want you to do is just register and set it up. You can come back later on and start pulling in all of your information for your bios, your employment, all of that good stuff. You can work through that at another time. I just wanted you to make sure to get registered so you had your unique identifier number. Okay, I wanted to spend the last half of our session actually going through SCOPUS. So to make sure that everybody is still on the same page, I'm putting in the chat the LibGuide that I created, because we're just following through the LibGuide. And I would love it if you would go ahead and have your Google Documents open, because this is where I put in all of that wonderful information about how we're going to look at SCOPUS. So if you can pull up that Google Documents and have that showing so you can put your notes in, that would be very helpful. So now as we move on to SCOPUS, here we are at the John B. Coleman Library page, and we're also at the LibGuide that I created for this session, and we're going to be over here in this section. And you know you're going to click on the John B. Coleman Library. This is just what they call breadcrumbs on how to get to SCOPUS. So we always click on the John B. Coleman Library, then we click on the A to Z listed databases, then we'll click on S for SCOPUS. If you go ahead and just click on S for SCOPUS, it's going to ask you to come down to where SCOPUS is, and you're going to click on the link for SCOPUS. And because if you're off campus, it will ask you for your username and your password, and that's the same credentials you use to even get into your email or get into any of your single sign-on. So we're going to get into SCOPUS. And here we are into our SCOPUS database. And so again, as I share with you, this is abstracts and indexes. It gives you the information about the journal title, the year was published, who the authors are. And then we can work toward going to the eJournal portal that I showed you at our last session, because you have all of the information about the journal, about who the author is, that you can find that full text. If not, you can always do an interlibrary loan to get that full text information, and especially work with your reference liaison librarians to help you find it as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We know that if you're looking at your Google Docs sheet, we know that we're going to start out and we're going to look at affiliations. That's the first thing I want everybody to do is, from that Google document sheets, we're going to look at affiliations, okay? So we're going to click on affiliations. And then right here, we're just going to type in Prairie View. Prairie View A&M University. Let's look at affiliations first. That's the first thing I want to show. But keep in mind, everybody, if you want to look at your alma mater's affiliation, like sometimes I love to look at Texas Women's University's affiliation and everything that they've been publishing, especially when it comes to library science and information studies, by all means do. But right now, we're just going to concentrate on Prairie View. So we're going to click on Prairie View, and here's where we come into. And this is where, like, I just have to like take a deep breath. I have to take a deep breath because it is so overwhelming. As a librarian, it is so overwhelming looking at all of the wonderful information that is available that we have just for Prairie View. So first it's telling us, yep, they got it right. That's our address. This is our affiliation number. Here are the other names and formats that we go by. And then we look at the documents associated, the number of authors that Prairie View represents, along with Prairie View working with other authors in other universities. Then we come in to look at some of the high areas. Number one is our engineering. So we know that engineering, it gets a lot of articles and publishes a lot out of. Then we go into physics and astronomy. Then we're going into computer science, you know, but we cannot believe nursing gets 54. So a lot of them are available to look at. And what are we actually going to be looking at? So if I click on engineering, and I'm clicking on that number, that 854, here's all of engineering articles that come up that are done with our faculty, along with maybe faculty from other universities that they've collaborated with, you know, and then what are they studying? What are they looking at? Okay, and a lot of this on here is excellent information that can help you if you're trying to figure out another study or another angle. Even coming down in here, let's look at business and management. And we're looking again at authors that we have on our campus that is doing work in all of these different areas, and looking at their list of resources that they have and what articles are they doing. Where are they publishing these articles? You know, how, if you're looking at an article and seeing, wow, I would love to collaborate with this author, know that this author is at Prairie View or works a lot with Prairie View. And we keep going into other areas, the humanities area, the arts and our humanities area. Clicking here, look, there's Dr. Royster, there's Dr. Shapey. Again, this is where like, I gotta just like calm down, because this is so much good information that as me being their library liaison, I can go, whoa, Dr. Erdely is working on this type of research. Let me show her some things from the library's end that could be even more helpful to her. Whoa, Dr. Shapey is now looking at enhancing awareness and inquiry, you know, and he's looking at some level of discomfort in this subject area. Let me work more with him on this and let's see what's going on. I can actually click on the title of his research and I get all this wonderful information, the abstract. But if I wanted to look at this, it's an open source. So that's yummy right there, because I can go straight to it and print out that full text article. But here's the article that it's coming out of. And wow, he's on the ball. This came out this year. in 2021. And so again, this is so exciting for me to look at because I get a chance to see what my coworkers are researching and what they're doing. And then how can I be helpful with it, especially in the agriculture and biological sciences, because that's one of my areas. Here again, all these wonderful researchers, and what are they working on, and how can I be helpful? How can I be supportive to them? You know, and as I go through this, I can go to funding sponsors. Okay, so here's what I love to look at. And again, I got to calm myself down because this is a lot of information that helps me to be even a better librarian to the faculty and the staff and the students of Prairie View. I get to see all the different funding sources. So realize, guys, that I'm just at Prairie View, okay? And I'm looking to notice that the U.S. Department of Agriculture does a lot of funding for us. The National Science Foundation does a lot of funding for us. All of these areas are doing a lot of funding that if I clicked on this link and I wanted to just look at all the funding that's coming from the United States Department of Agriculture, I would be able to look at not only who's all funding them, but the authors related to it. And then work back with that faculty and those researchers to say, hey, let me know if you need help. If you're looking for other research endeavors that might not even include our library, but as a librarian and as a professional librarian, you know, I'm able to look at other resources even beyond our library world as well, if it will be helpful. So that's another excellent thing I like to show off when I'm looking at especially our affiliations, you know, and again, everything in here is so laid out that I can be able to click in and look at what they're researching on, see where I can be beneficial to help them with their research. And it's from the affiliations detail. So that's what Ms. Gay wanted to really show you, is this affiliations detail and why, and the value of going through this affiliations detail, and realize that this is an interactive model. So when I click on this link and I want to look at the green area of engineering, it actually tells me in engineering, this is how much information we have in engineering and the publications, over here in the chemical engineering area, even down into the social sciences area. So I like going through this, especially looking at the affiliations area, because I get a chance to see what comes up. And then what I do is I get real smart and I start setting my document alerts. And I start looking to say, I want to know, and I can come in and create an account in Scopus, and I'll say, I want to know what Dr. Shapey is looking at researching next, because I want to be able to help him and support him in his research endeavors. So that's the reason why I wanted to show you straight off the bat the affiliations and what the affiliations mean for Prairie View, okay? And we're going to keep going after the affiliations. Now we're going to go into, from that Google Docs that you have, that I hope you're taking due diligent notes over. Now we're going to go into researching Scopus, basic and advanced searching, okay? And one thing I like about the researching and Scopus and the basic and advanced searching is I get to now play around with some more terminology and some more words. So here we're going to go, guys. We're going to dive into this area, and now we're going to go into documents. And as you know, Ms. Gay is doing what's called train the trainers. So this is stuff that I'm showing you, but I want you to explore it more. And I want you to be able to show this off to other people as well, because there's no way that I can teach you everything about Scopus in an hour session, because I've been certified as a Scopus librarian teacher of it. And this was a 6-week training that we did on all the intricate parts of Scopus. But I started realizing when I did my training is, if I'd have just, looked at these individual areas, this would have made this come together so more cohesive. So that's what I'm showing you, is these 3 areas: affiliation, documents, and authors. And then you can expand more on how to make Scopus even more intricately involved in your research needs. But for right now, we're going to now look at documents. And see where it says search documents? I'm going to do smart technology and agriculture. For my other faculty and my staff that's out there, please put in your own research strategy and put in something that you've been researching, that you want to gather even new levels of information about. Okay, and the reason why I put the smart technology in quotes is I want smart technology as one word, because it is a word that they're now using in ag, that they're using drones and they're using meter thermometers and testing tools for farmers. I grew up on a dairy farm, so anything with ag, I'm always in tune to wanting to know more research about it so I can share it with my father and my mom as well. So I'm going to do smart technology in agriculture. That's all I need, just 2 words. Short Boolean phrase. I've got my noun and I've got my main subject area, and I'm going to do a search. Oh, I get so excited now. Why? I got 2,389 results. Whew, that makes me excited, because if I didn't get any results, I would have to go somewhere else. So I know that I can take the time to start looking at some of these resources, and I can start here and look at patents. What patents are out? Who is doing patents related to smart technology and agriculture? So I'm able to look at this section just on patents. And here's what I'm coming up with. A lot of this is going to be in what is that? Looks Korean? Yes, Japanese. There we go. A lot of this is going to be looking at information from another language, but I can switch it back to say English. That's no big deal. From here, I'm going to look at all of these different notes that let me know, okay, here are some of the patents that they're doing. Here's some of the information that they're doing dealing with smart technology and agriculture. So I've got that notion to look at. I'm going to click on documents again. And then from here, I get this part to look at, guys. And I want you to be aware, this is all the open access. So for my faculty member who had asked about, how would we be able to get the full text? There's 740 articles that's already open source. There's 351 from another open source dealer that you can look at that full text article. Then years, how far back do I want to go? Then it goes authors. I know that this Yo is going to be somebody that I'll want to contact out, because they've done the most so far in this level of smart technology. Okay, and then I've got my subject areas. Then I go through and I can do my document type. What do I want to look at? Conference paper. Conference papers could be exciting, because conference papers is somebody who has made a presentation to a body of an audience talking about a new endeavor that they've done dealing in smart agriculture. So I'm not going to leave those conference papers out, but there's articles, there's reviews, there's book chapters, and there's even conference reviews. So there's even conferences that they've done about smart technology that I can look at too. And then we come here to affiliations. What universities, who's doing the most in affiliation? Okay, and it shows me these are the ones that's doing the most in affiliation. Then funding sponsors. Who are their funding sponsors for this smart technology? So I'll know these are the ones that I'm going to go after. Why do I want to go after them? Because they already given money. Okay, any one of these are already giving money for this smart technology. So all I have to do is link back up and see what type of funding they could be adding to smart technology that I could be involved in, because they're already giving money out. I don't have to decide, oh, I don't think they're going to give any money, or I don't think they've done money. No, this United States Agency of International Development, they're giving out funding for smart technology. Okay, and then again, like I said before, if you see something and it's not in a language that you can read, I can switch back over and I can change it to English. I can change it to Chinese, Korean, Spanish, French. I can look at all of those different languages as well. But one of the things that I want to show you as we dive into this is looking at finding a good article. So I like this one, number 8, smart agriculture. And so here's what I wanted to show you that makes this so positive. Smart agriculture. urgent need of the day in developing countries. So it's telling me who wrote it, where it came from, and it even has the nerve to give me their email. Oh my God. So now if I'm doing something in smart agriculture and I want to work with somebody who is international, I can actually email these authors and start looking at how we can collaborate and how we can work together. Then I can also export all of this into those RefWorks accounts that I was showing you last time that we looked at. I can print out this information. I can email it to myself. I can save this as a PDF, and I can look down at some of those keywords that they're using and even look to see what other keywords that I could be using in my paper as well. Then also look to see what other authors are publishing things as well that reference them. So I've got this notion right here too that I can look at. So again, it gives you so much. And then here is the citation alert. I can log into Scopus and be able to get a citation alert that will let me know, hey, somebody else from these authors has wrote another article dealing in smart agriculture. And then remember when I was telling you about the citation analysis, I can do this plum metrics, and this plum metrics will literally put into place and let me see, you know, what exactly makes this scholarly peer review and the details on why this is so scholarly peer review and what does it capture and why has this been important to put into the Scopus, the actual Scopus database. So I've got this that I can look at as well. And then if I click on more, I can create a bibliography. So again, this is the reason why I wanted to show you these three elements of Scopus and looking at why they're so important. And if I want to come down to funding sponsor, and I want to look at this one, International Fund for Agricultural Development, I want to actually look at all of the articles and all of the authors who got funding. So here's what happens. My brain starts thinking, guys, to realize that this International Fund for Agricultural Development, these are the articles that faculty, authors had published. So I'll know, okay, if I want to get funding from this actual department, these are the type of articles, or this is the type of research that they look to fund. I've already got who the author is. I've already got the sources, already got the years. I start working with these authors to say, here, I'm here in Texas, you know, and I'm looking at hopefully working with you on a funding endeavor. And this is the research that I can offer. And this is the research that I can lend to your area as well. So that's another reason why I like looking at Scopus and looking at the document section. So we've looked at Scopus in all different areas. And then the author section is just looking at it from the author side, okay? And it's literally just looking at it from the author side. And you can type in your author's name. You know, you can type in, I know we saw Dr. Royster. I think it's the first name of Michael. And you can do an author search. Here we go. So here is an author search. He has 9 documents in preview. And what are those documents dealing with? So if I'm looking to see what some of the things that Dr. Royster has and the articles that he has, here are these articles that he's talked about and he's dealt with. So if I'm looking to say, Dr. Royster, you know, I want to be involved, you know, do you need any help with doing research in this endeavor? Let me know, because I noticed in Scopus, you know, you've written a lot of good articles and they have you as one of the authors in Scopus. So you can actually do Scopus by the author and you can work with certain authors. And as a researcher, this can come in handy to know other authors in the field that have that like mind like you. And that's what makes it so positive. When you have those like minds together, you can be able to unfold even more information, even that Scopus has to offer. So I'll recap and share with you that in Scopus, you can search by documents, and that'll give you the information about who the authors are, what resources, what articles are being written that are getting funded, the affiliations, yummy, yummy, yummy. Search it by preview, be able to look at all of the different authors at preview and what are they researching and how you can be helpful and exploratory in their research. So that's by affiliation. And then don't forget to just do straight up by authors. Look at your research. See if you're not in Scopus. Look at how they did the matrix for you and the journal impact factor related to that as well. And then don't forget to go back to ORCID and be able to make sure that you put in all of your authentic information for ORCID so you can be able to have your own author ID ship as well. Well, I'm getting good at this, Miss Cotton. We got 5 minutes left. I can now open it up if anybody has any questions.
There is a question in the box. It says, by the way, this question is not a critique of Scopus. It already indexes the majority, if not almost all, that is relevant to our academic research globally. I noticed that some major publishers like Harvard Business School are not indexed by Scopus. So what are other databases index non-Scopus publishers? I do believe Scopus meets all of our needs. I just try to be thorough and comprehensive.
Well, here's what I can share. That's an excellent question. The reason why Harvard is not in Scopus is because Scopus doesn't do a lot with business. Scopus does more engineering, the computer sciences, the more the technology field. If you're looking for some areas that do more business, that would be ProQuest. Your ProQuest databases, and I'll even go to that right now. So if you're looking to see what databases has indexes a lot of business, that would be your ProQuest databases. So if I click on the library's homepage, I'm actually going to go to the A to Z listed databases. From the A to Z listed databases, I go straight to the letter P, and I'm coming down to ProQuest databases. And here's where you see that the ABI Inform is business. We're looking at anything dealing with the social aspect of business, that's in here. The ProQuest database is our biggest business database that would also do abstract and index. The great thing about it with ProQuest is it is a database that has the intuitive to have the full text. So if you do find articles in ProQuest, they would already be in full text for you to look at. So that's a good question.
And there's another question, how do we get a PDF of the actual article?
So if we're going into our Scopus, okay, and I've done my smart technology and I'm looking at my research and I'm coming to something, and I even see that this one that I like, the even first one that I like, okay? It's an open access, so it's an open source, so I can actually just go to this one. I can actually just go to this link, but I also have this where I can just copy and paste the title. This is gonna amaze y'all. I can copy and paste the title. I'm gonna move over into Google. Seriously, I'm gonna move over into google.com, paste the title of it in here and have it come up. And then here is my PDF. And download the full text.
Does it answer the question?
So did that answer the question? And here is my full text article. Isn't that beautiful? Here's my full text article for that one that I found in Scopus. And this is what I love, guys. We're thinking smarter, not harder. You didn't have to go through Google to try to find it. You went through Scopus that had it scholarly peer reviewed. You found the citation, you found the article title, and then you just went to Google to say, give me the full text article. And here it is. Do we have any other questions? Yes, you could say that. I'm reading one right now. So is it okay to say ProQuest is for business, SCOPUS is for engineering, tech, including business, and your SSC is for social sciences? You could, but as a librarian, all of them are going to cross-pollinate. So I would not ever say this is the only place. I would not ever say this is the only place you can get it, because here's what I want to challenge everybody. And as I show this, I'm going to pull up the library's homepage again. And this is what I want to leave y'all with as we work through every month showing you all of these wonderful library resources. I want to challenge everybody with taking the time to go to the library's page, go to the databases A to Z. There's over 300, and looking at all the databases. Okay, the reason why I will never give a definitive on this is the one-stop shop is because I know that we have Science Direct. I know that we have Project Muse. I know that we have JSTOR. I know that, you know, all of these other databases can count as well. So the challenge I want to share with everybody is take the time to go through the databases and be smart. Go by subject areas. So if you're a business and you know that you're dealing a lot in business aspects, here's 52. We have 52 databases that deal in business. And then be smart. Here are the reference librarians and the liaisons to business that can be even more helpful to you. But here are 52 academically, scholarly, peer-reviewed databases dealing just in business. Take the time to go through it. Look and see what relevancy it might have. Why would you want to keep using this? Why would you not want to keep using this? Why would it matter the most to even be in this section of these business areas? Because you see ProQuest is here. ProQuest is here, and you see SCOPUS is not listed in this. But we have so many other ones that deal in business. Does anybody have any other questions? This is really good.
If there are no questions, I want to remind everyone to please complete the brief survey. There's a link in the chat box. And I also want to remind everyone, as we said at the beginning of our session, there will be a library research series, and it will be held on the second Monday of each month. All of the reference librarians will be a part of this series, and the first one will be held on June 14th. I want to thank you so much, Kimberly Gay, for the train the trainers that you provided for us today and the wealth of information. And we look forward to everything else that we're going to learn about the resources at the John B. Coleman Library. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
I do have one question that comes in about public databases, like the Census Bureau. Does the library have a link on its page for the public? We can put that on there, but we don't have one because you literally can just go to the Census Bureau. So we know that the United States Census Bureau, you know, that you can just actually type in Census Bureau. So we wouldn't want to put that because it is a free publication and it's not considered a database in our sense, that you can just actually go to the Census Bureau and pull up the information that you need.
We're going to the very end. Thank you again, everyone.
Thank you, Karen, for having us. We appreciate it.
Lots of great information. Lots of great information.